Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so let's start. So before I start, let me give you the quick recap on what exactly we have done till now. Okay, so we started off with the introduction to SAP S4HANA, which includes the basics of HANA database and the entire roadmap or journey, like how exactly SAP S4HANA came into picture, which are the different versions available on S4HANA. And then we started off with a practical session on master data, where we seen what has been the impact on material master and the uh, effect on the customer and vendor master data on SAP S4HANA, which means how it has been replaced with the business partner approach. And in the last week, we talked about, I've shown you some of the important places where you can go yourself and found the important content related to SAP S4HANA, which will be not only helpful today during the course, but whenever you are working on any kind of project. It may be a new implementation, system conversion, or landscape transformation. That documentation will be very handy. And at the same time, today, as you can see, this documentation is only available till 1610 because that is the last version which is available on SAP S4HANA. But going forward, whatever new versions SAP will bring, you'll find all the documentations available on the same link. Okay, and what we are going to do today is we are going to start off with the changes now, like in the practical way, like how exactly the things were happening earlier and what has been the impact on the standard, let's say, procure to pay process, or what are the simplifications in procure to payment process when it comes to SAP S4HANA. Okay, so that is something which we'll concentrate today. We'll start off with the procure to pay cycle. Okay, we'll start off with a creation of purchase requisitions, purchase orders, MIGO. Okay, so I'll just do it in the normal way earlier, like how it used to be in ECC. And wherever required, I'll go to some new, or wherever SAP will stop us and it will give some error messages that this is something which is not available in SAP S4HANA. I need to explain them properly. Okay, so let me start. Let me start off with procure to pay, as I told you. So before I start doing the transactions in system, let me speak about what are the typical processes or what are the typical activities that you carry out in procurement. Okay, so you normally start with PR creation, right? Because this is a step which is used by your end user who is ultimately going to consume the material or services which he is requesting for. Okay, so normally let's take an example of the department which is in need of some material. Okay, it can be the traded good or the the material which is used for manufacturing or directly selling to the customer, or it can be some material or service which you are going to consume in your company itself. Like for example, if a new employee joins, he is in need of, let's say, laptop or computer. So that is also something which will come to purchase department for purchasing. Okay, at the same time, whatever inventory you are storing to sell, even whatever materials you are storing which will be used for manufacturing, so all these things also needs to be handled via the normal PR creation. So PR can be created for material which is directly related to the sale, or it can be some material or service which you are using internally in your company. Okay, so you create a PR. Once PR is created based on your releasing strategy, whatever is defined in your company, whatever is your policy, so PR has to be released from, let me write, release of PR. Okay, so only the released purchase requisitions should be available to purchase department so that they carry on the normal purchasing cycle. Okay, so once the PR is released, it will, let's say, go to purchase department and they can decide whether they want to directly create a purchase order based on the PR, or first they want to uh, create a RFQ, which means they want the uh, quotations from the suppliers. Okay, based on which, after the comparison of the quotation, they will decide which supplier to choose. Okay, so all those options are still available, whatever you were getting. I'm telling the process. When you talk about the process is nothing to do with SAP or any other software. The process will remain same. Only difference is the way in which you are using this process, or the screens that you are using to do these transactions, that is simplified. Okay, so release of PR, then you, let's say I'm directly writing here PO creation, because for RFQ we'll talk separately. You create a PO, you again, based on the releasing strategy, you release PO, finally you send the PO, or I can say you can print the PO. And once the PO is printed or sent, you receive the goods, which is, you normally perform this transaction MIGO. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, as releasing has nothing to see, like releasing has not been changed. From the releasing point of view, whatever releasing strategies you were creating earlier, it is still available in the same way without any change, releasing of PO and releasing of PR. Okay, so we are not going to focus much on this release part, but when it comes to PR creation, PO creation, printing PO, and MIGO, these are the important activities that we want to compare how they were handled in ECC and how it has been simplified in SAP S4. Okay, so I'll start off with creation of PR, which is ME51N. Okay, so this is a normal transaction that you use to create a purchase requisition. Now here, the end user, okay, who is requesting that I want these goods to be purchased because I want to consume it, or maybe the requester who is someone from the stores who knows that, okay, this particular material is in shortage and will be in need of this material. He is creating the material or purchase requisition manually. In other cases, this purchase requisitions, as we know, they can be created automatically also based on the MRP runs. Okay, so whatever I'm talking about in terms of creation of PR, this is only applicable for the purchase requisitions which are created manually. So you come onto this purchase requisition screen, you specify which material you want to purchase. So in our case, we already added SL11 in our material description, so I can filter like this. So this is a material which is required, how much quantity required, let's say it is 10. Unit of measurement, let's say it is, or maybe it will automatically bring from the material master. Plant, again SL11. Storage location, if you want, you can enter here. If not, you can keep it blank. Purchasing group, I'm entering as 001. Okay, and then I'll press enter. Now, since there is no combination available for this material and we are not specified any vendor, so we need to provide this valuation price. Okay, so I'll just press enter as 1000, which is a valuation price, and press enter. Okay, now it is just providing some of the warning messages which are very common even in ECC also. So this is no change. The way in which you create a purchase requisition, I'm just following the same thing in SAP S4HANA using the traditional GUI, and it is allowing me to create a purchase requisition in exactly same way. Okay, once I am done with this, I'll click on save. So this purchase requisition has been created. Now, in order to convert this purchase requisition into purchase order, SAP ECC also provides various options. The first option is manually converting the purchase requisitions into purchase order. So one of the example which we normally use in case of one-to-one purchase requisition, if you just want to convert one purchase requisition into purchase order, we directly go to transaction ME21N and we enter the purchase requisition number here, which brings all the materials which are available in that purchase requisition. Okay, we enter the purchase requisition number here, press enter, it will bring the material information. Okay, only thing is whatever information was not entered while creation of PR, that we need to enter. Like for example, we need to enter a vendor, we need to enter a purchase requisition, which we are not maintained earlier. So if I maintain SL11, now tell me one thing. I am a purchaser and this particular material, last time it was purchased around a year back. And I don't remember which vendor I used last time. And I mean, if I want to know which vendor can supply me this material, okay, in that case, what I need to do while converting the purchase requisition into purchase order, I need to specify the vendor number here. What should I do? I'll just, let's say, go to F4, but this is only the normal selection criteria. It is not giving me the selection criteria where I can specify that, okay, I want to see all the suppliers or maybe the supplier who is providing me this material. Okay, I cannot see it here, right? What I need to do is I need to open some another screen. Okay, I need to open some report, like let's say, for example, a list of suppliers who are providing these materials or list of purchasing documents. I'll open the list of purchasing documents, I'll enter the material number, and I'll see, oh, this is a vendor who can provide me this material, right? But system is not helping you here in this screen. You need to come out of the screen, you need to find out who is the vendor. Okay, here you are not getting any help from the system. Okay, so maybe let's say I go to some other screen where I found that, okay, this is the vendor who provides me this material. Now, in our case, there is only one vendor in SL11, so I can directly write here. Okay, so this is a vendor which we can use. Okay, there is a issue. Material is not maintained by accounting. So let me just complete this thing first. I'll go to MM01 for particular material, this one, and we need to maintain the accounting view. I don't know which other views are not maintained. So let's first maintain accounting and then we'll see. Okay, let's try now. Maybe we need to come out. Yes, okay, let me come out and do this thing once again. So I'll again go to ME21N. I'll go to purchasing requisition field, press enter. It will ask me for purchase requisition. It will ask me for vendor. I'll provide all this information, pressing enter once again. Amount. Okay, now this is a common thing, which is again the warning message. Okay, so which means after specifying some of the remaining fields, like what is going to be the purchase organization, who is going to be the vendor, it is allowing me to convert the purchase requisition into purchase order. Obviously, another option is what we used to use in ECC is if we have multiple purchase requisitions and we want to convert them automatically into purchase orders. So for that, we normally use transaction ME57, but as you know that before using this transaction, your material and supplier both should be activated for automatic generation of PO. Okay, so there are some prerequisites for which you need to activate those things, and when you use ME57 automatically for that materials and suppliers where that tick is on, they can be converted automatically into purchase order. So whatever way you use, okay, irrespective, whatever you convert your purchase requisition manually one by one into purchase order, or you convert most of your purchase requisitions directly into purchase orders. Okay, so same ways you will be using here, but I'm going to tell you what are the benefits now. Okay, one benefit, as I told you, I have still not talked about any benefit, but I talked about the challenge. Which supplier is available for buying this material? That is a challenge here in the traditional screen, because I need to open another screen. I need to find out some report where I can get the information that, okay, this particular vendor can be used. Okay, so this is one thing. Now, if I click on save, or maybe before clicking on save, let me tell you one more thing. If I click on messages, okay, what you can see here is output. What is this messages and what is this output? So once you create a purchase order, obviously you want to send this purchase order to your vendor. Okay, if you create a purchase order without sending it to the vendor, there is no point, right? You want to tell your supplier that, okay, I want this material. That is the reason you created a purchase order. Now the question is, how are you going to send this purchase order to your vendor? Are you going to send him a hard copy of the print, or you are going to send him the soft copy via email, or you are going to fax it, or you are automatically going to connect your system to supplier system and send the files via Ad-hoc? Okay, so there are multiple output channels or output mediums, as you can see, which were available in ECC. So in ECC, you can see there are multiple options. There are 10 options which are available, from which you can choose which one to be used for a particular combination of supplier. Okay, now this screen that you can see is exactly same screen that you were using in ECC, right? This is exactly same screen that we were using in ECC. But let me tell you, in SAP S4HANA, there is a concept of new output determination. Now the question is, what is that? And if that is a thing, that then why we are able to see the old output determination here? Okay, so these are some of the questions which I'll definitely answer. Let me just complete this scenario and then we'll focus on this output determination. Okay, so I'll go back now and click on save. So finally my purchase requisition has been converted to purchase order. So this is how we were doing in ECC. No change. Whatever we have done till now, this is exactly what we are following in ECC. Now let me show you how the same thing can be done using SAP Fiori. Okay, and where exactly are some of the things which you will find that they are useful compared to the traditional screens. Okay, so for that, what I need to go to SAP Fiori screen. Okay, so we are in SAP Fiori screen now. And as I told you, this SAP Fiori screen is completely role-based, which means based on who is logging into SAP Fiori screen, he'll be only able to see the apps which are relevant to him. So for example, if I am a employee of a particular department, okay, and I have some kind of requirement which I want to raise to our purchasing department. For example, I want, as I told you, let's say I joined a company and I want a laptop. Okay, so each and every employee normally is allowed to create a purchase requisition in the system. Okay, because then only that requisitions will be will come to purchasing department, which they can convert into purchase orders and they can do the following up activities. Okay, so in our case, we are looking for purchase requisition processing. Based on your roles, you may have this create purchase requisition screen which is available to you. Okay, so let's say for example, if you are a person who is only responsible for creation of purchase requisitions. Okay, in that case, even in the purchase requisition processing, it doesn't mean that all these 8 apps will be available to you. Because if you are just a requester, create purchase requisition is fine. But automatic creation of purchase orders from purchase requisition, this is not your task. This will be done by your purchase department. So what will happen is you may be able to create purchase requisition, may be able to display purchase requisition, you may be able to see the list of all the purchase requisitions that you have created. But otherwise, this automatic creation, assign and process purchase requisition, create purchase order, and just manage purchase requisition, for example, this may not be available to you as an end user. Okay, so let's say I have this screen which I can use as an end user to create the purchase requisitions. Now, if I click on this, this is nothing but a copy of existing ME51N screen. Okay. If it is the same screen, then question is why SAP provided this? Why not I go to ME51N and perform the transaction? What are the benefits of using this screen compared to traditional screen in traditional GUI? I mean, okay, why not using? Why shouldn't I use ME51N instead of using SAP Fiori? So as you know, whatever benefits we talked about SAP Fiori, what we talked about, we said simplified user experience. Okay, maybe we are not getting simplified user experience because this is exactly same as what we were getting in the traditional GUI. Apart from that, accessing this transaction from any device, you can open this create purchase requisition screen from any device you want. That is a challenge with traditional GUI, right? If you want to create a purchase requisition using ME51N, in that case, it can be only done from either your laptop or your computer because you need the SAP application installed in your PC, then only you can access those transactions. So that is definitely one of the benefit. Okay, because now even if the screens are older, even if the screens are not simplified, but I can still use the screens from tabs, from mobiles, and I can create a purchase requisition. Okay, now does it mean that for all the other things also SAP has done the same thing, that they just copied the existing screen? No. There are a lot of screens which are already simplified, and there are a lot of screens which are in the process of simplification. So till that time, we don't want the end users. Let's say, for example, if I talk about, I want to do this 6 activities. Okay, so let's say there is no change in PR creation. Same screen, what you use in ME51N. Release of PR, let's say again, no change. I'm just giving you the example. PO creation, yes, there is a change. Release PO, let's say again, there is a change. Print PO, there is a change. And MIGO, let me say again, there is a change. Now, what you can see from here is SAP has simplified the way in which PO can be created. It is not a copy of ME21. And for example, there is a new screen which is simple to use. The way in which you release the PO, again, that is changed. The way in which you can print the PO, again, there is a simplification. And the way in which you perform the good receipt, again, there is a change. Now, if I want to provide the access to the end user, in this case, what should I do? Should I go with all these transactions in SAP Fiori, or I only provide these transactions which are new in SAP Fiori while the transactions which are same in traditional GUI? That will create a big confusion, right? A user needs to use both the screens, SAP Fiori also and traditional GUI also. That is the reason what SAP has done is, even if this transaction is not simplified, okay, at least the copy should be available in SAP Fiori, because from the user's perspective, everything should be available from Fiori. They should not go back to traditional GUI to perform the transactions which are not changed. So that is the basic idea why you can see that the screens are available as it is without any change. The reason is just to make sure that if the user is using SAP Fiori, they don't need to go back to ME51N to create this transaction. They can access this screen from Fiori also and from traditional also, so they can decide whether they want to continue with Fiori or they want to switch back to the normal traditional GUI. Okay, so this is same. I'll just enter the same information what we entered from traditional GUI. So I'm doing the same thing, star SL 11 star. This is giving me the material number. Again, I'm entering the quantity, plant, which is SL11. If I want to use the storage location, let me enter this also, purchasing group 001. Enter. Valuation price, which is again, let's say 1000. Enter. Okay, same warning message that we were getting in traditional GUI. Now, once I click on save, okay, this is a save button. Once I click on save, it will generate the purchase requisition again without any change. So till now, no change. Only thing is using this new SAP Fiori app to create a purchase requisition. Now with this particular app, it can be created from any device. Okay, you are not restricted to a computer or a laptop to do this. This can be done from any device. This is the only change that we have seen till now. Now let me close this. I already copied this purchase requisition number. Okay. Now you see here, now when I want to convert this purchase requisition into purchase order, again from SAP Fiori point of view, I have multiple options. Okay, one is automatic creation of purchase order from requisitions. This is nothing but ME57 screen, again, simple copy of that screen. Okay, and as I told you, if you want to use this feature in the material master and in the supplier master, that automatic creation of PO must be ticked. Normal functionality, no change. Okay, so this is one option you can still use. Second option is same what we have done in traditional GUI. You go to create purchase order screen. So come out of this purchase requisition, go to let's say purchase order processing. Here you open create purchase order app. Okay, not this. Let me go back. This is a new app we'll talk about. This one, create purchase order advanced. If I open this, this is nothing but a copy of existing ME21N screen. So you can continue to do the same thing. You can enter the requisition number here, purchase requisition number here, press enter, and the way in which you were accessing or the way in which you were converting the PR into PO, it can be followed in the same way. So this is the second option. What is the new option? These options were already available in SAP, right? In traditional GUI also. What is new here is this app, manage purchase requisitions. What is this manage purchase requisitions? If you click on this app, okay, it is showing you the list of all the purchase requisitions which are open. Okay, now from my user ID, I can see all the purchase requisitions from all the plants. Okay, but when it is for the purchasing department, when they open this manage purchase requisitions, definitely it will be only relevant to their authorizations. Okay, so if I am a person who is responsible for only one purchasing organization, only one plant, whatever authorizations are provided to me, that will be the only purchase requisitions that I'll be allowed to see here. Okay, so if I want to filter it by our plant, what should I do? I'll just enter SL11 here. Okay, similarly, if you want to filter by your purchase organization or you want to filter by your material group, the selection criteria are available. So if I enter SL11 and click on go, this will only show me purchase requisitions which are open for this particular plant. So we can see here there are two purchase requisitions which are open, which needs to be processed. Okay. One very important thing you can see here, okay, this is fine. This is item, this is description, material group, quantity, price. See this field, assigned supplier. Okay, delivery date is fine, plant is fine. These all things are common. Now, just concentrate on this assigned supplier and just forget about this first line. This is just, I just created this for testing purpose, but this is something which we are working on, right? So here you can see system is automatically proposing you the supplier. Okay, if you are in manage purchase requisition screen, which you can use to convert into RFQ or purchase order, but before you convert it to the purchase order, as we seen in the traditional GUI also, that you need to provide the supplier who is going to provide this material. And in order to know the supplier, you need to go into different screens to find out who can provide you this material. Okay, but now in this screen, automatically system is proposing you. System has identified that there is one source of supply who can provide you this material. How? So if you click on this, it is saying, okay, this is a vendor which is available. And how the system has identified that? System has identified based on the info record. Okay, so what system is doing now? It is helping you out in assigning the supplier. So if there are, let's say, 4 purchase info records that you have created, system will show you all the 4 options here. It will say 4 sources. Okay, and you need, how are you going to change this? So you click on this change button. Here you can specify which source of supply you want to select. So let's say if I want to select this, it will allow you to proceed. Okay, so this is one of the simplification, which they are calling it as a simplified sourcing. Okay, what is simplified sourcing? Simplified sourcing means wherever possible, system is going to propose you the available supplier. System is automatically going to propose you that, okay, if this is a combination, this is a best supplier. Let's say, for example, this is just a simple example that I shown you. I created the purchase requisition manually, and then using this app, I'm trying to assign the supplier to it. But let's say, for example, yes, I'm coming to that. So let's say, for example, now you are running the MRP, okay, and there are some materials which needs to be procured from outside. Okay, so there also this simplified sourcing will work, okay, and they will automatically assign the available supplier. Now, question is, from where exactly the supplier will come? What are the places? What are the objects from which this supplier will be automated? So one is obviously the info record. Second is if you have open contract. Third is if you have open scheduled agreement. If you have older POs, okay, which you created, they will also become available here. Okay, so there is a particular sequence in which your supplier will be identified. In your purchase info record, there is a tick. There is one tick called as default supplier. Okay, I'll show you. If you open your purchase info record, let me go to ME13. Let me see where exactly that is there. No. See this one, auto sourcing. Okay, this will only come if you specify the purchase requisition, sorry, purchase organization. So what is this auto sourcing? Auto sourcing means for this particular material, this is going to be the default vendor. Okay, so currently in this particular screen, system is just proposing. Okay, if I cancel this, system is just proposing, okay, there is one source. But if I want the system to not only show me the source, but automatically select a particular source based on whatever is already defined. So for example, in this particular thing, it was just going for PIR, purchase info record, and it is showing that yes, there is one source available. But if I activate this tick, if I tick this indicator here, what will happen is it will automatically show like this, that okay, this is a vendor which is available, and since this vendor has this auto sourcing tick, this means this is a default vendor for this material. Okay, so that is called a simplified sourcing. So now I'm just concentrating on the normal PR to PO process. So I just give you the small introduction of simplified sourcing. But when we'll be discussing about MRP live, okay, at that particular time, you will get more insights into this functionality. What is simplified sourcing? Because I'll give you the complete sequence in which the source is identified. Okay, so let's say, for example, if you have source list, if you have quota arrangement, if you have contract, scheduling agreements, purchase info records, how the system will identify, how the system will propose automatically which supplier to choose. So that is something which will be, there will be a particular sequence which SAP follows in terms of the simplified sourcing. So we'll focus on that point when we'll talk about MRP Lab. But this is something which was not available in SAP ECC. For this particular thing, you need to go back into different transactions and to search for a particular vendor. But here, you are getting this automatically. So this is definitely one of the biggest simplification for the purchase department when they want to convert the PR into PO. Okay, so now before I proceed, I need to assign this source of supply. So I'll go to this change mode and I'll enter the supplier. Click on OK. Okay, now you can see this, what it is showing is that this is a supplier out of one sources. So system has only one source available and you already selected this vendor. If there are 4 sources available, when you select a particular supplier, it will show you, okay, this has been selected out of 4 different sources. Okay, now if I want to convert this purchase requisition into purchase order, or if I want to convert this purchase requisition into RFQ, I can directly do it from here. I just need to click on this indicator, create RFQ or create purchase order. I think there is some issue with this particular app. Let me try, because last time I tried, this is not taking me to the create purchase order screen. So what happens is when you click on this indicator, the data, whatever is available in the purchase requisition, this is transferred to the new app, because this create purchase order will open a new app. Okay, the data is copied from whatever information is available in purchase requisition to the new app of create purchase order. But in between, I think there is some disconnection that this create purchase order app is not getting opened at all. So let's try. If I click on create purchase order, no, it is coming back to the same screen. But when I click on this, you can see it is going in the left direction and it will open the new app, create purchase order, with all this relevant information. Okay, no worries, I can show you how that purchase order screen will look like. Okay, if I want to convert this purchase requisition, when I click on create purchase order, which screen will open, that I can show you. But let me see if I can resolve this issue, because this is not taking me to the desired app. Let's try one more time. No. Okay, now let me show you which screen should come when you carry out this transaction. So you are converting your purchase requisition into purchase order, which means create purchase order screen should come by taking the values as a default values from purchase requisition. So for creation of purchase order, there are 2 apps which are provided by SAP. Okay, the name is saying the without any subtitle, and here it is saying, okay, this is advanced. But advanced doesn't mean that this is a new app. Advanced means it is nothing but the copy of ME21N. Then why they have written this advanced? Because in the first version, when they came up with new apps, they came up with only this create purchase order. And as I told you, if I open this, it is simplified. The amount of the fields which you can see here, they are lesser compared to ME21N. But let's say, for example, there is one or two fields which are relevant for the business, which are not available in this standard app which is provided by SAP. In that case, in the earlier versions, what we need to tell the user, oh, because this is not available, you have to use traditional GUI. Okay, so customers were confused when we should use the traditional GUI, when we should use the new SAP Fiori apps. That is the reason SAP has now at least created a copy of each and every SAP screen, so that we should not go back to the traditional GUI. Even if you want to use the old transaction, so instead of coming here, we can go to this create purchase order advanced, and we can continue to use in the same way as we were using till now. Okay, so what has happened? Purchase order processing. Okay, so this is a new app, and this is the existing copy of existing SAP ECC screen or traditional GUI screen. Okay, before I go there, let's complete this purchase requisition part. So create purchase requisition, exactly same as a copy of the existing SAP system, SAP transaction. Display purchase requisition, which is again the same thing. Okay. Automatic creation of purchase order from requisition. Again, this is ME57 screen. Assign and process purchase requisition. I think this is not working properly. Create purchase order via purchase requisition. Again, it is just like this. Manage purchase requisitions. I just shown you. Okay, which is it will give you the list of all the. So this is not some of the screen which is already available in ECC, right? This is something on top of whatever is available in the traditional GUI. And sorry, where is purchase requisition again? Yeah, display and maintain purchase order advanced and manage purchase requisition professional. I think this is something which is they are trying to come up with in the next versions, because if you open this now, I don't think it is okay. It is now working. Yeah, let me see. So in our case, let me. So you are able to see the purchase requisitions, but okay, let me just go through this before I talk anything about this, because this was not working till last time. Okay, what exactly they have provided in this, let me just check it out. Okay, so these are the things which are available from the purchase requisition point of view. Then from purchase order point of view, as I told you, there are two different apps to create a purchase order. This is nothing but a copy of existing ME21 screen, and this is a new screen. So normally when I told you, when you open this manage purchase requisition, when you tick on purchase requisition and click on create purchase order, it will take you to this screen, create purchase order screen. Okay, as you can see, this is a new screen. Now, when you open this create purchase order, it is providing you lot of purchasing documents. What are these purchasing documents? So this is just to help you out in creating the purchase order faster. Which means if I want to create a purchase order, instead of writing everything manually, supplier, plant, sales order, cost center, whatever you want to enter in the purchase order, instead of that, you can just create a copy. Okay, when you click on this, when you click on create, automatically all the fields which are available in this purchase order will be copied. That is the whole idea. So for example, if I for a particular supplier, let's say if I select my supplier which we just used, Supplier name, it is not showing. Oh, it is smaller. I think that is the reason. Okay, so if I click on this and go, obviously it will show me only the purchasing documents which are relevant to this purchase orders. Sorry, relevant to this supplier. So what it is showing? It is showing you two things: purchase order and info record. Okay, so you have the option of selecting whatever you want and click on create. So if you don't want to copy all the fields in the purchase order, you just want a combination of vendor and material, then you can also use info record as a template to create a purchase order. Okay, so for example, if I try this, I'll click on this. Why it is not allowing? Okay, let me try this, create. At least one reference purchase order is of type purchase order advance. PO cannot be created with reference data. Create a new from scratch. What does this mean? At least one referenced purchase order is of type purchase order advanced, because we created this purchase order using the advanced app, right? This we created from the traditional screen, ME21N, which means it is not created from this screen. That is the reason it is not able to copy. So currently, if you want to use this app and if you want to copy the existing purchase order, then that purchase order must be also created from this screen, not from the advanced screen. Okay, that is a challenge here. So let's try this info record. If I try, purchase order was lost, change on this, resume editing or discard. Okay, resume. Now these apps are not working properly. Some services are not activated, I think. Sorry. So normally when you select this, normally when you select this info record, the fields which are available in the info record, like supplier, material, any other conditions that you have written, even the price if it is maintained, okay, that fields will be automatically copied, and you just need to fill the remaining fields to carry on the creation of purchase order. Okay, and let's say for example, if I want to use this same app but without any reference, I want to start everything from scratch, so I can directly click on create. So if I'm not selecting any of this, I can directly go and click on create. It is from scratch, it is allowing. Okay, we can create this from scratch. So what we need to do, we need to specify the supplier. It was SL11. See, some of the problems that you can see, these are related to this server only. When you work on your server, okay, this actual server where you're working, you might not be getting this kind of errors. What happens is, any SAP Fiori screen, when you want to use, there are multiple services which are triggered in the background. Okay, so whenever you are, let's say for example, even if you're doing F4, definitely this is coordinating with the backend system, right? Because it is bringing the data from there. So in order to bring the data, there are a lot of services which are called in the background. So some of the services are not properly activated. That is the reason we are finding this kind of challenges. But otherwise, if all these things are properly managed in a proper server, then definitely you'll not find this kind of issues. Purchasing group. Okay, and then I can add the materials here. So this is simplified in the sense, okay, you can see the number of fields are restricted, not much compared to the traditional system, traditional GUI. Okay, most of the fields will be automatically updated based on the combination. Okay, so if you already have the purchase info record, for example, available, if most of the fields are available within that, they can come automatically here. I think, again, in ECC also, there are many fields which are coming automatically, but looking at the screen, when you see ME21 screen, you can see, you can just, for example, let me show you. So you need to keep on scrolling. There are a lot of fields which are available. Okay, but here you can see only this much fields are available. So the ultimate purpose is just to make sure that only the fields which are required to be updated manually, they are only available. Whatever fields are coming automatically, okay, that should not be used here. So in order to avoid the confusion, that is the whole idea for this. Okay, so this is another app which is provided by SAP, which is on top of the existing copy of ME21 screen. Okay, now it depends upon your user. Like for example, if you are going in the project, okay, and you want to decide whether my user will be using this create purchase order new app, or he will continue to use the advanced one, which is just the copy of traditional system. It all depends upon which fields are required. So for example, if from the user's perspective, he knows that, okay, these are the only fields I want, and these fields are already available in this create purchase order new app, then definitely you can suggest him, instead of going to the traditional ME21 or N or traditional transaction, you can use this app. And if you find there are some of the fields, let's say 2 or 3 fields only, which are missing in this SAP Fiori app. So another option is you can speak to your Fiori consultant, who can change some of the things in the background and some of the things in using UEFI to bring that fields also in this screen. Okay, so that kind of things are also possible. You can bring some fields from the earlier transaction into new SAP Fiori apps. That is also possible based on the requirement. Okay, any questions till now before I proceed to next thing? Okay, so till now we are not seeing any major change. Okay, major change in the area of procure to pay, as I told you, is one is output determination, second is material ledger. So these things we need to focus on now. Whatever we discussed till now, this is only for the new user interface. Okay, and the simplicity in terms of simplified sourcing, as we talked about, but otherwise not much of the changes you'll find in procure to pay process. Sorry, there is some question. Okay, the question is from Shri. He's asking, how do we add new customized fields or adding the new tabs for the PO? Do you mean in this screen, Shri?
Yes, Gaurav.
Yes.
Let us say we have so many customized fields from the SPRO, and if you want to add either the new fields or the new tabs, customized tabs based on the new requirements.
All right. See, again, coming to the basic things, like even in SAP ECC also, what we were doing was, if there are some custom fields which you want to bring onto your standard screens, okay, that is possible. Even today also it is possible. You need the technical help. So earlier, what we were doing is we were only involving your ABAP, okay, and he was sorry, yeah, you were only involving ABAP, who was writing the code through which you can see the new fields available, and whenever you enter this information in the field, it was getting captured in some of the fields in the table level also. Right, same thing needs to be done now also, because whenever you want to add some customized fields, definitely they must be available in the backend tables. Only addition here is that only ABAP is not sufficient, because you also want that fields to come in SAP Fiori screen also. And in SAP Fiori, you have UFI technology, or you have some tools which are available from SAP Fiori, which can help you to bring that new fields. So in short, in order to answer your question, it is definitely possible to add the customized fields even in SAP Fiori screen. But only thing is, now only ABAP cannot do that. ABAP plus Fiori will be required, because ABAP will write the backend code, which will coordinate with the table level, and Fiori consultant will write code, or maybe he will design a screen in such a way that just new fields are interacting with the code which is written by ABAP. Shri, you got this point?
Yeah, thanks. So if there are already a customized field available in the standard transaction, again, if you want all of those fields, again, we need a Fiori mapping and again, a separate code, I believe. Is that right?
Yes, you're right.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, there is another question from Pradeep. He is asking, is the concept of source list still available, still present in SAP S4? Yes, Pradeep, source list is still available in SAP S4, but as I told you, with this concept of simplified sourcing, the use of source list is not recommended. But as I told you, this is a very big concept. When you talk about MRP list, you will get this clarification. Just to answer your question, yes, source list is available as of today, but using this new concept of simplified sourcing, you may not need to create any source list in future. Who is waiting for name? Can you change your name? Because okay, your question is, can you show us the release screen? I'll show you. No, don't worry about it. I'll show you. Sandeep is asking the question in manage PO, but in manage PO, it is showing the supplier, but how logic works on available quantity or the base price. Yes, Sandeep. So as I answered your question, if I open this manage purchase requisitions, wherever there is a confusion, see, it is not, for example, when we seen our own purchase requisition, it was not directly showing you that, okay, this is a supplier. It was just showing you this is one of the source. So for example, if you have 4 suppliers which can deliver this material to you, in that case, if the system is not able to find out which supplier to choose, it will not provide the final supplier. It will just show you that there are 4 sources of supply which are available. Okay, and coming to your question, you are asking how the system will find, or how the system will finalize the supplier, whether it will be based on the available quantity or the base price. That is the concept of simplified sourcing, which we'll discuss, where I'll show you what is the sequence. Okay, how the system is determining the supplier based on what sequence and from where it is picking the data.
Sure, thank you.
Yeah. Another question. Yes.
Gaurav, this is Sri. One more question. In the previous screen on the purchase order, what is that new tab called process flows?
Process flows is, it will give you the complete end-to-end process flow. Like when you go to purchase order history, okay, even today, when you go to purchase order history, it tells you the complete information, like whether the GR has been created or not, or the invoice has been created or not. It is just like that. So once you complete this purchase order, I'll show you how you can see which material document has been created, which invoice has been created. That is a process flow.
Oh, so it is like an history, like goods issue, reversals,
Yes.
or any purchase or goods receipt and all that.
Yes, agree.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, another question from Terry. If you don't use source list, okay, how to fix and block sources? Yes, Terry, very good question. So as I told you, source list is still available, but I told you it is not recommended. It is only recommended if you want to block some sources of material. So source list is available because of that reason only, because source list is not only used to specify the source, you can block some of the sources, and there is no other screen in SAP which allows you to block a particular vendor for a particular material. Only for that reason, source list is available. Okay, so maybe I think this is a very hot topic today, simplified sourcing. Again and again, we are coming back to that particular point. So maybe instead of waiting for MRP live, I'll bring this topic in tomorrow's session. Okay, which will clarify all your doubts related to simplified sourcing, like whether the supplier source list is required, quota arrangement, contract. We'll talk about all that particular sequence in tomorrow's session. Okay, so today, if no more questions, I need to proceed to next topic. Okay, now we talked about creation of PR and PO and how using SAP Fiori screens, your job will be simplified without much of the changes in the business process, or without any new configuration required, without any new features which are provided by SAP in terms of the functionality. Only thing is simplification. Now let's talk about, we already created a purchase order, right? Now if I want to, yes, any question?
Gaurav, I have one quick question. So, from our standard ME21, and we have an external calls to the Vertex or tag for getting all the tax codes and all that. So, how will that be performed in the Fiori? Is it going to be the same call, API call, or do we need to modify those as well?
See, whenever you have any kind of interface, okay, it may be Vertex, it may be something else. Okay, so as I told you, if you are using the traditional screens in the sense create purchase order advanced tab, in that case, whatever APIs, whatever bodies were getting called earlier, the same bodies will be called even now also. Even for new purchase order app, what is happening is it is just simplifying the way in which you enter the transaction. But in the background, it is again calling that same user exit or body, whatever it was calling for the create purchase order normal screen. So what happens is, if in the background same BAPIs and bodies are called, then definitely whatever interfaces you already created, they will work as it is. Okay, but again, we'll talk about that when we'll talk about system conversion. Okay, we should not be very confident that yes, all the interfaces are going to work, because there are some changes in the some of the user exits and all. Okay, so user exits in the sense, because the architecture has been changed, there are some changes in the way how some of the bodies and BAPIs were created earlier. So what will happen is, Vertex, I'm 100% sure it will work as it is. But if you add some more scenarios in your question, that what about my other interfaces, will they work as it is or not, then definitely there is a tool which is provided by SAP called as Custom Code Analyzer, which we are going to talk in detail during our conversion project. Using that tool, you can actually identify which of the interfaces that I'm using currently, whether all of them will be available in SAP S4HANA as it is, or I need some adjustments before I can use these interfaces in SAP S4. Okay,
thank you.
Gaurav, one question, a quick question. Because the source determination is already there in ERP, right? But whatever you've been talking about, initially it takes from the quota arrangement, then the source list, then the outline agreement, then it goes to the purchasing for record. I think you're talking about the same thing, is it, or is it different?
No, so only difference is
it's already there in ERP. This is how it works in ERP. Is it the same thing you're talking about, or is going to have a different source determination?
There is small change. Okay, so you are right. Like for example, there is already some logic. When I run the MRP run, it automatically brings the supplier in some of the purchase requisitions, right? So
No,
that is fine.
no, I'm not talking about the MRP. MRP again, I'm talking about generally when you have all these four for a particular material. First, it goes on, takes for the quota arrangement, then looks for the source list, then it goes for the outline agreement. This is the process. This is generally that. I'm just wondering whether it is the same or not, because that is what I was just asking.
No, but in which transaction? In which transaction you are saying that the source will be determined based on the sequence?
Now, when you have the purchase requisition, when you take the source determination, when you say that these four conditions, generally it goes on how the purchase requisition considers, because if everything is there, if you're going to have the quota arrangement, if you have the source list, because all these four conditions are going to be there. So the prioritizing, it goes on with the quota arrangement, then it goes with the source list, then outline agreement, it goes with this. Then the last thing would be the purchase info record. I think that is the probable process. I'm just wondering whether it is same. I'm just asking you. If anyway you're going to
Definitely. As you said, can you just mute yourself?
Yeah.
There you go. Yes. So definitely this sourcing is available, but only thing is, let's say for example, if for some of the purchase requisitions, system is automatically able to generate the vendor based on the combination that we specified, quota arrangement and all. Okay, but let's say for example, if the system is not able to find it knows that okay, these are the different sources of supply, but it is not able to finalize which supplier to pick. In that case, this app is giving you the entire list of sources of supply. So definitely, I'm not saying that this is something which is completely new, but this is something which is going beyond that and telling you that okay, there were 8 sources of supply, and I have chosen only one source based on this particular sequence. Okay, and that too, even if you want to, that is something which came recently. When you talk about purchase requisition source of supply, when you enter this ME51, and this is a tick, when you determine this source determination, then you will be getting the source of supply determined automatically based on that sequence. Okay, but this is only thing is there is some change. As I told you, source of supply will not be required now. There is another kind of new thing, which is when you I'm mainly focusing on MRP because that will give you the complete scenario. So irrespective whether you create a PR from scratch or it is coming from MRP, the logic is going to be same, right? So that is something which is new. So that is the reason I'm saying you, maybe tomorrow we can concentrate on source of supply, where I'll be telling you the exact things what were happening in ECC and how this has been simplified in SAP S4.
Okay, thank you. Gaurav, one more quick question. Since we are covering the purchase requisitions, are there any changes on the contract management, contracts, or the outline agreements as such?
No, apart from the SAP Fiori apps, the look and feel and all, other than that, there are no changes. Even the screens, if you see the contract agreement, they are available without any kind of change. They are just a copy of existing contract and scheduling agreements.
Okay, thanks.
But we are going to talk about that also, because what I'm doing is I'm not going through the mode of like in the particular sequence, whatever is available in the certification or simplification list. I'm just going through the process. Once you understand the complete process, then I'll talk about all those areas where you'll find the change in simplification list or maybe the change in the certification document. So once I complete this entire end-to-end scenario, then we'll come back to reviewing that, where exactly what SAP has written in the simplification list and the certification document, what has been changed from each and every topic wise, like from contract and sourcing point of view, what they have changed. From purchase requisition processing, we'll just verify that okay, we have seen everything or not. So we are going to talk about that also.
Gaurav, this is Saji. I have a question.
Yes.
The source the suppliers, 1 out of 9, those are written in the Fiori app, right? That is not the effect of the HANA. Is that true, or is it because of the Fiori app it is coming, or is it a S4 HANA application enhancement?
No, it is a combination of both. We cannot say it is only Fiori or it is SAP HANA, because see, earlier also, as we confirmed that yes, this thing was possible earlier also, but the screen that we were using to create the purchase orders from purchase requisitions, they were not very user friendly, where we can get all these options. So both, when we talk about SAP Fiori, it allows us to display all that list of suppliers, and HANA, because it processes the results faster, it picks all the sources of supply from the table level also. So it is a combination of both.
Oh, thank
Okay, so yeah, let me just talk about, I'll not take output determination today, maybe I'll take it tomorrow because it will take more time. So I'll go with material ledger. Okay, so we already created a purchase order. I'll take that purchase order and try to do Migo. So let me just copy the purchase order first of all. Is this the thing that we created? Yes, it seems like. So I'll just copy this. Go to Migo. It will obviously issue a lot of errors because the account determination and all we still not configured, but we'll solve whatever it asks us to solve. Okay, so this is going to be good reset against the purchase order. This is the purchase order number. First thing, tolerance, table T169P, entry SL11 does not exist. So definitely we need to maintain this configuration. So normally what you do, normally when you copy the plant, all these configurations are automatically done. But when it comes to, when we are doing it from scratch, right? So that is the reason some of the things we need to maintain here. Okay, so this is not a new configuration. This was available in ECC also, but normally when you copy the plant, all these things are copied automatically from 0001. So I'm just in the sense 0001 means whatever sample plant you take. Okay, it is not always 0001. Whatever sample plants you take, it is copied from that. Okay, so I'll just enter SL11, click on save. Let's try once again. Let me just come out of this and go to Migo. Okay, now I can see in the same way, I can see the material is coming automatically from purchase order. And normally what you do, you click on item OK, you check whether it is going to the proper storage location. Okay, and if this is done, you try to check it whether it is going to post the correct postings. Okay, it seems to be okay, but I don't know whether we already maintained the GL accounts or not. Okay, so let's continue. If it throws error, we'll maintain those. Post document, yeah, GL account does not exist. So we need 3 5 times 0 to be created. In SL11. New, this must be, okay, this is raw material. It will also ask for GRIR, I think. GRIR also we are not created. So in control data, we don't need to do anything. In create, we need to click on this indicator. For inventory account, this indicator must be on. And this is a material account. Okay, so as I told you, next time it is going to throw another error for another GL, which is 191102, which is GRIR account. Okay, you can just save this. Yes. Okay, before I talk about material ledger, so as you've seen that system is asking for GL accounts. Okay, so I think this is the right point. We talk about the integration changes. So as you know, the integration between MM and FI, right? When you do the MIGO, system tries to check which account to post. So normally the posting is that your inventory account or whatever raw material or whatever you are purchasing, that becomes debit and your GRIR account becomes credit. Okay, and how this is determined in ECC? This is determined based on the OBYC settings. In OBYC, you have two account keys. One is, or maybe you can call transactions. One is BSX, which is inventory posting, and second is WRX, which is for GRIR. So in case of BSX, if I double click here, chart of account, we are using this INT chart of account. So this is the reason why it is asking for this account, because we maintained in the material master, if you remember, we maintained the valuation class as 3000, and this GL account is assigned to that particular valuation class. And in case of WRX, which is our GRIR account, it is specified this particular account. So any combination, this is the only account which will be used. So that is the reason system is picking this. So from integration, when you talk about OBYC, even when you talk about VKOA, from text point of view, you talk about OB40, all these transactions are still available as it is without any change. Okay, so when it comes to, there are a lot of questions from guys like, okay, when we say that, okay, now we are on Simple Logistics, we are running Simple Finance. So is there any change in the integration between MM and FI, ST and FI? There are some improvements. Okay, I'll talk about that later on. The improvements in the sense, there are some changes in the COPA, okay, from financials point of view. And because of which, the way in which the postings happens during the post goods issue, there are some changes. But otherwise, whatever settings you were maintaining in OBYC and VKOA, that settings are still available as it is, and that is the only place where you need to maintain this integrated accounts. Okay, so account determination is exactly same as whatever you were having in ECC without any change in SAP S4HANA. Even if means we are already know that when we are using Simple Logistics, obviously Simple Finance is also part of S4HANA. So in Simple Finance also, there is no change in the way how the account determination is determined. Only one change that we'll discuss, as I told you, related to COPA, not much related to our logistics processes, but yes, from when you create a sales order and finally when you deliver the goods, at that time, there is a change in the way how the posting will be done to COGS account. So that we'll talk about when we'll discuss the sales cycle. Other than that, no change. OBYC, VKOA, OB40, whatever account determination transactions are available from the SPRO point of view, they are still available. Yeah, now coming to very important thing. This is something which we need to discuss. If I click on save, I'm getting this error. Material ledger is not activated for valuation area SL11. Valuation area means plant, right? So our valuation area is at the plant level. Now, what does this error mean? Okay, in ECC, if you don't activate material ledger, you will not get this error. Okay, because in ECC, material ledger is not mandatory feature, mandatory functionality. In SAP S4HANA, material ledger is mandatory. Now, before we talk about why it is mandatory and all, let's try to understand what is material ledger. Material ledger is not a new functionality. Material ledger is available from years, and that is mainly part of your controlling module. The configuration and all, they come within controlling, but it has a very tight integration with materials management. So from the layman point of view, what is material ledger and under which scenario companies needs to activate this functionality. I'm giving a simple example. We are working in a company who is operating in, let's say, India, okay, and their group company is in US, okay. Now, whatever day-to-day transactions, materials movements we do, goods issues, goods receipt, there is a valuation, right? Let's say you issued some material, definitely some value is going out. So if you issued 10 quantity at 1000, 10,000 is the amount which is credited in your inventory books. When you receive something, that amount is getting debited, right? So whenever you do any materials movement, there is some amount which is flowing in and out of your plant. Okay, now this amount, if, as I told you, if you are working from India, so whatever transactions you will be doing in your local currency, right? Your local currency is, let's say, INR. So whatever transactions you are doing, they are in INR. But at the same time, now there is a requirement, let's say from IFRS point of view or from global reporting point of view, that whatever transactions you are doing in India in INR, that is not sufficient. We want each and every transaction to be posted in USD also, so that we can do our reporting better at the group level. So whatever transactions you do in India, apart from INR, it also should capture the values in USD. Okay, so this is kind of requirement. Now, how are you going to achieve this? This requirement you cannot achieve without using material ledger functionality. Material ledger is a functionality which allows you up to 2 additional currencies apart from your 1 local currency. So in order to achieve this requirement, normally we activate material ledger functionality. And in material ledger configuration, we maintain that, okay, these are the 2 currencies which we want to use on top of your local currency. So every time whenever you do transaction, automatically that transaction is updated not only in your local currency, but also in your parallel currencies. So this parallel currency is one of the biggest benefit of material ledger. It is not only restricted to that. There is something called as actual costing, okay, which is a scenario under which you want to capture the actual cost of a particular material. Okay, in the sense, if I give you the example, let's say you purchased the material, you done the MIGO at 100, price as 100. Okay, now you already sold 50 quantity. You purchased 100 quantity at rate as 100, and you already sold 50 quantity. And now you are getting the invoice from the supplier, and he's saying the rate was not 100, it was 120. Now the problem is you already issued the material which was valuated at 100. Okay, now how are you going to rectify that material which is already issued? Okay, so that kind of things are possible in actual costing. When you implement actual costing, it keeps on capturing all these scenarios, and it keeps on passing the postings which is going to rectify all your valuations which are posted incorrectly. So these are the 2 features of material ledger. One is actual costing and second is parallel currencies. Now, if the companies have this requirement, if the companies, they think, yes, we want parallel currency, or maybe, yes, we want actual costing, in that case, they will go for material ledger activation. There are a lot of companies who are already using material ledger if they have this kind of requirement. But other companies, let's say a company which is operating only in India, they don't have any connection to US, they are just operating in India, they don't have any other plants in any other country. For them, they are happy with INR. They don't want to do any parallel currency reporting. Even the actual costing is something they are not into manufacturing, let's say. Actual costing is more relevant in manufacturing. So let's say they are not in manufacturing and they don't have this requirement of actual costing also. In that case, today they can decide, okay, because it is not required, we should skip that. We don't want to use material ledger functionality. So today in ECC, very much possible. You can say, okay, this is not my requirement, I'll not activate this. Or maybe, yes, this is something which I require, that is the reason I'll activate material ledger. Today you have the choice in ECC. If there is a requirement, you will activate material ledger. If there is no requirement, you don't use the material ledger functionality. So that is the kind of flexibility that is provided today in ECC. Now, what is the problem in that? Problem is, if you are activating material ledger functionality, there are separate set of tables for holding that records on top of your normal inventory valuation. So today we can divide like this. If you are using material ledger functionality, then you are using normal inventory valuation plus material ledger. If you are not using material ledger functionality, then you are only using normal inventory valuation tables. So just for example's sake, let's say there are 10 tables which are only required for inventory valuation, normal inventory valuation, irrespective of whether you use material ledger or not. And if you use material ledger, there are another set of 10 tables which are updated for only plants where material ledger is activated. So overall, if you are activating material ledger today, you are keeping a track of 20 tables. Okay, so you are duplicating, you are already storing the information in the normal inventory valuation, plus you are entering the information in the material ledger tables, which is creating the duplication. Now, from day one, we are talking about SAP S4HANA is trying to remove the duplicacy. It is trying to reduce the data footprint of the system. With keeping that thing in mind, what SAP has done is, they said, okay, if today some of the customers are using material ledger and some of them are not using, so inventory valuation is something which is getting updated anyways, whether you are using it or not. So let's remove this normal inventory valuation completely. Normal inventory valuation completely. Whatever tables are available for normal inventory valuation, remove it completely. They removed it completely and they just kept the material ledger tables with some additional fields which were required from the inventory valuation point of view. Okay, so now let's say out of that 20 tables, only 10 tables are available for material ledger. Now let's say if I don't have a requirement, I don't want to use material ledger functionality, I don't have any parallel currency, I don't have any actual costing, no worries. It is not mandatory in material ledger that if you are using material ledger, you have to activate multiple currencies and actual costing. From technical point of view, you have to activate material ledger, which means the system will know that now this tables needs to be updated. There is no inventory valuation tables, only material ledger tables. But functionality wise, it is still up to you whether you want to use parallel currency or actual costing or not. Okay, so this is only technical mandatory. Why technically mandatory? Because the tables which are available in material ledger, those are the only tables in SAP S4HANA which are going to store the valuation information. Earlier, this was divided into normal inventory valuation and material ledger valuation. Now only material ledger valuation will be available without the need of normal inventory valuation. That is the whole idea. So just to confirm once again, material ledger is required from technical point of view. Functional point of view, it is still up to you whether you want to use or whether you want to activate parallel currency and actual costing or not. One another important thing, as I told you, there were 10 tables in material ledger, 10 tables in inventory valuation. So now they came and only 10 tables are available from material ledger. Now even that 10 tables are also simplified from material ledger point of view. When SAP came up with SAP Simple Finance, before SAP Logistics came into picture, SAP has already simplified material ledger functionality. So today, if there are 10 tables which are getting updated, now they are brought down to 2 or 3 tables. One very important table, AC Doc A, accounting document table, is going to store most of the information which is posted in material valuation. Okay, so out of 20 tables, now you can think of only 2 or 3 tables. That is the reason why they made this functionality mandatory. Okay, this is not going to add any kind of additional value. Okay, it is not like, okay, material ledger is active now, so you can get let's say, for example, more features. It is not features, it is the way in which the transactions will be processed. It is the speed at which the transactions will be processed, because the data footprint has been reduced a lot. Okay, and this is from the data footprint point of view. Even now, if you want to create some Z reports, earlier you need to switch between 20 different tables to get some information from one table, then go to another table, then keep on doing that. Now, with only 2 or 3 tables in place, your reporting, the Z reporting also will become simple. Okay, so that is the whole purpose of this material ledger activation. And now, since it is mandatory, you are getting this error. In ECC, you will not get this kind of error because this was optional. But in SAP S4HANA, you will get this error if you don't activate material ledger for any of the plant. Okay, without material ledger, system will not allow you to post any materials movement. Not only MIGO, even if you try goods issue, definitely you cannot do that, because till the time you don't have material available, you cannot do the goods issue. Okay, so it is not going to allow you any transaction, any materials movement till the time you don't activate the material ledger functionality. Okay, how to do that now? Now, first thing, if this is a case, who is going to take care of this? Whether material ledger will be activated by logistics or it will be activated by accounting? This is a big question. Now, the answer is, it depends. If you are activating because it is mandatory, okay, only for that reason, there is no requirement of actual costing, there is no requirement of parallel currency, you are just activating is because it is mandatory, then it is not a big task. You don't need to involve your controlling consultant. You can do it very easily. There are only 2 transactions, and that too also they are provided in this question mark. If you click on this question mark, it is specifying go to this transaction codes and follow these steps. But if there is a proper requirement, that there's a valid requirement from the business that they want to use material ledger functionality, they want to use actual costing functionality, in that case, technical activation is not sufficient. Right? Before you perform the technical activation, you need to check with your controlling counterpart to like whether he is going to do it, or because there is no requirement from the business, you can carry on this activity. Okay, so it depends upon the scope of material ledger. If you think that yes, material ledger is required, in that case, it will be definitely done by the controlling consultant. If it is only from the technical point of view, it can be done by you also. That is not a problem at all. Okay, this is from the new implementation point of view, whether you are deciding whether I want to activate material ledger or not. In case of, sorry, whether you want to use material ledger features or not, because activation is not in your hand, that has to be activated. In case of conversion means when you are already using ECC and you want to migrate to SAP S4. In case of conversion, SAP has already provided a lot of cockpits programs. Okay, you don't need to do anything manually. System will automatically activate material ledger functionality. It will automatically take care of subsequent processes, configurations, everything to make sure that the functionality is activated in the converted S4HANA system. Okay, so anyways, that is a separate topic that we'll discuss in the conversion session. But just to, sorry, just give me a minute. Yeah, just to summarize this, whether you or your controlling counterpart will do this configuration, it all depends upon the scope of the project. Okay, so now how can I proceed? How can I activate this material ledger functionality? I can see these 2 transactions, OMX1 and CKM start, but again they are not sufficient because we are in 1610 and this is something which is continuing from 1511. They have not updated this. I'll show you why. So if I copy this OMX1 and if I go here, so this is activation of material ledger. Now in our case, our plant is SL11. See, we cannot do anything here. Okay, let me first open the 1511 if it is working. I am not sure whether it is. I've not tried it from last many days. It's working. Okay, so if I try OMX1, this transaction was enough. Okay, here I can go to any plant. Let's say, for example, any plant you see. It is very simple. You just need to tick this indicator, and it is clearly specified that tick this indicator and where is that? Tick this indicator and enter the value as 2 in price determination. Okay, very clearly specifying what needs to be done. So in order to do that, in 1511, it is very simple. You come to the screen, you select your plant, activate this indicator and click on or specify price determination indicator 2, nothing else. Okay, but in case of 1610, as you can see, it is not that simple because it is not allowing. There are some new fields added. See, valuation area, company code are available in both. Valuation area, company code. Then there is material ledger, price determination. But before material ledger and price determination, you can see these 2 fields are added, which are not available in 1511. Sorry, which are not available, yeah, in 1511. What is the purpose of these fields? So now 1610 has been more simplified in the sense, in ECC, if you are activating material ledger functionality, you when it comes to parallel currency, these parallel currencies are the currencies which you defined at company code level. So when you create a company code or when you define the currencies for the company code, there is one local currency and you can define 2 additional currencies apart from your local currency at the company code settings. Now when you activate material ledger and when you activate parallel currencies in material ledger, whatever currencies you define in company code, they become the default 2 currencies which will be updated in each and every transaction. Okay, so this is something which was available in ECC, and 1511 was also doing the same thing. Now with 1610, SAP is providing you another option that even if you have some additional currencies, even if you have some other currencies which are not same as company code, okay, that can be also used in case of parallel currencies. Just for example, so what should I do here? I cannot do anything. So let me go back from here. I'll go to SPRO, SAP reference IMG. As I told you, this will come under controlling, product cost controlling, actual costing and material ledger. So when we are going to OMX1, this is a screen where we are going. Activate material ledger. This is a screen which is getting opened. Okay, now if I show you the same thing in 1511, SAP reference IMG, controlling, product cost controlling, actual costing and material ledger. Here you can see this activity is directly available. Activate valuation areas for material ledger. Here activate material ledger for valuation areas is only available after these 2 activities. So these 2 activities are added now, which were not available in 1511. What are these activities? So if I click on assign currency types and define material ledger types. So here you can define the material ledger type. Okay, let's say for example, this is 9000 is something which is provided by SAP as a standard material ledger type. And you can see there is an option whether you want to pick the currencies from FI, or you want to pick the currencies from CO, or you want the manual currencies to be added as the parallel currencies. So for example, if I tick this and double click here, I can see there is only one currency which I'm using in this material ledger type. Okay, if you want to add, you can add up to 2 additional currencies here. So apart from one local currency, you can use multiple currencies. So as I told you, if you are only activating from technical point of view, you definitely will not define multiple currencies. You will just keep this default one, which is company code currency. This is default. You cannot skip this. Company code currency will definitely come as a first currency. Okay, so you define the material ledger type here, where you can specify which currencies you want to use. And then second is you define or you assign the material ledger types to your plants. Okay, so here you are specifying that which material ledger type is assigned to your plant. So in our case, if I go to SL11, currently, sorry, there is no values, which means our plant is not assigned to any material ledger type. And that is the reason we are getting the gray option there. We are not able to activate from that particular screen. So first we need to add this, then only we can go to activation screen and we can activate material ledger functionality. So I need to click on new entry, SL11, material ledger type, which is going to be 9000. Save it. Now if I go back to OMX1, activate material ledger, SL11. Now you can see this has been turned into green. Okay, earlier it was like this. Now it has been turned into green and I can activate material ledger with, it is clearly specifying price determination indicator must be transaction based too. Just click on save. So you are getting this message. After activating material ledger, live data must be converted. And this is the same thing. When you see here, it has asked you to complete OMX1 first and then go to CKM start to perform the live data product view. Okay, same thing. Even here also, if you click on question mark, it will tell the same thing, that go to CKM start to perform this transaction. So it is not showing the transaction code, it is showing the path, but this path is same, CKM start. Okay, so controlling actual cost, utilities, production setup. Let me show you this thing. So this is done. Activation of material ledger is done. Next thing, you need to follow this path, accounting, or you can directly go to transaction CKM start. Controlling, product cost controlling, actual costing, material ledger. Production startup, CKM start. Okay, so this is the path. Now, why exactly we are doing this? What is the purpose of this activity? When we already activated material ledger functionality, why we are using this? What is production startup? Production startup means if you are activating this functionality in between means this company code is already live. Let's say in case of conversion projects, in case of new implementation, this is just a formality. There is nothing which will be done in the background for this. But in case of system conversion, where you were not using material ledger till now, you are using this plant from last, let's say 4 years, you posted a lot of transactions which are normally available in the normal inventory valuation, but they are not available in the material ledger tables. Now, if you are activating this functionality, what about your old transactions? Old transaction needs to be moved to material ledger tables, right? So for that purpose, you execute this program. So the data which is available in the normal inventory valuation tables, they will move to material ledger tables. That is the whole idea of this. Okay, so based on the transactions, it will take time based on the documents. In our case, we know there are no much documents available or not a single document available in this plant which is related to inventory valuation, so it will take milliseconds. Okay, so how to do that? Just enter your plant, remove this test run. Okay, and if you are already opened any of the screen, it will not work. It will throw error because you need to come out of that plant. Okay, so I'll close this all things. Okay, let's try now. This is going to be done in the background processing. Start immediately. Okay, so background job has been scheduled. You can see it is already finished. Okay, duration not even any second because there was no data. So now we are done with both the activities. We have done the activation of material ledger and we also done the productive migration. Now, if I try the same transaction again, which is Migo, purchase order number, item okay, and try to save this. Okay, there is another error. Interval 50 does not exist. This is relevant to FBN1, which is financial number range. So it is trying to create a FI document, but the number range is not available. So FBN1 is a transaction to maintain the number ranges from finance point of view. Now, instead of copying one or entering one number at range at a time, I'll prefer to copy it from some other company code so that all the number ranges should be copied. Okay, so now all the number ranges are available in SL11. If I go back, try to post once again. Finally, we are able to post the material document. Okay, so this material document has been created the normal way, how you see this display. Document info, you can see FI documents and all. So now this document, where exactly it got posted, whether it is got posted in all the traditional tables that we were talking about from ES, or it has been posted into some kind of new table. So as I told you, there is a new table, MATDOC, which will be posted for each and every materials movements. Whatever material movements you do, issues, receipts, whatever, your document will be posted in MATDOC for each and every transaction. Not only in MATDOC, but also from accounting point of view, there is a new table AC.K. So if I copy this and go to SE16 and MATDOC, okay, and maybe if I just enter the plant here, which is SL11, you can see most of the information that used to store in MKPF and MSEC, now it is directly available in one common table. MKPF and MSEC are still available. They will continue to be there for some time. But MATDOC is a new table which is going to store all the information which is stored in MKPF, MSEC, plus lot of other fields from other tables which were used for the aggregation purpose. If you remember, I told you earlier, there are no aggregations in SAP S4HANA. So tables like MARC, which were performing the totals and storing the quantities, they are not going to store now. This is a table which will hold a line for each and every materials movement. So whenever a goods issue is done, it will create one line here. Whenever the receipt is done, it will create a line here. Okay, so it will only, this table is insert only. Insert only means there is no need of aggregations and all. This will keep on inserting whatever transactions you do. And whenever you want a report, like how much quantity is available in a particular plant in a storage location, it will just perform the total based on this quantity and other options which are available in this table. Okay, So this MAT-DOC is a table which is not only going to store the values from MKPF and MSIG, but a lot of other further attributes which are related to removing the aggregates. At the same time, as I told you, whenever a material document is created, corresponding accounting document will also get triggered in AC-Doc A. So there is a new table in place called as AC-Doc A, which is going to hold accounting documents. This is called as a universal journal entry line table. Okay, so if I enter the company code here, which is SL11, so this is a document which is created in SL11. Okay, one is debit and other is credit. Okay, any questions till now related to material ledger functionality? This MAT, DOC and AC-Doc A, anyways, we are going to discuss further in the subsequent sessions, but anything related to material ledger? Or maybe I'll just summarize what we discussed. Material ledger is a functionality which is not a new functionality. It was available from years. The reason why, the use case why we need to use material ledger is if we have a requirement of additional currencies apart from the normal currencies for our materials transactions. Okay, only in that case material ledger was something which the companies are activating. But now in SAP S4HANA, even if you don't have that requirement, still from the technical point of view, material ledger is mandatory. You need to activate it because it will save a lot of system resources. It will not update any of the traditional inventory valuation tables. That is the whole idea of material ledger. Okay, any questions before we close today? Tomorrow we are going to talk about output determination and simplified sourcing. No questions? Okay, then thank you. Bye. We'll meet tomorrow. If you have, just go through this recording if you want to and come up with the questions if you want tomorrow. Thank you. Bye.